Hey everybody, I hope things are going well. If you missed the lecture from, I don't know what day it is, the 17th, today's the 18th, but if you missed it from the 17th, for Intro to Egg, here we go. So yesterday, but 2 days ago, we started talking about aquaculture and what aquaculture is and the type of impact that it has. The last thing we talked about is how much more efficient cold-blooded fish are compared to like beef steers. And the big reason they're cold-blooded, so that takes less energy to maintain their body temperature. Now, I go through notes when I do video fairly fast, so you might have to pause to write down anything, but I figure it's better to go through it fast and like make you pause than go through it really slow, and then you have to sit there awkwardly. So pause if you need to at any point. So another thing that makes fish more efficient and why we have that 2 pounds of feed to 1 pound of gain in comparison to a beef steer's 9 to 11 pounds of feed for 1 pound of gain is that fish have a higher percentage of edible meat. 85% up to 85% of meat on a fish you can eat. They just have smaller bones. They have less non-edible bits in them. Also, up to 6,000 pounds of fish can be raised on 1 acre. Somebody asked me yesterday if that's how deep an acre is for fish. I don't know that off the top of my head, and I should have looked it up, but I didn't. But 6,000 pounds of fish can be raised on 1 acre. That's kind of insane, but it makes it so you can farm a lot more on a lot less land. But fish farming is not without its problems. First of all, the dissolved oxygen level must be maintained. So fish, we're all like, oh yeah, they breathe water, which is true, but they need oxygen dissolved in that water. If you know, the chemical formula for water is 1 hydrogen or 2 hydrogen for 1 oxygen. And it's not like fish just take in that water and pull off the oxygen and they're like, yes, I have my oxygen. There actually has to be oxygen molecules dissolved in that water for them to breathe in. And that's why my fish tank has a bubbler in it to help keep that dissolved oxygen up. Oh, it doesn't hit that here. Well, on our next slide, we'll talk about that. Plants also help. Also, the shipping of meat is hard. It spoils really fast. Anyone who fishes knows that fish spoil really fast. You have to get them cold. One of the students told the story yesterday that the resort that he worked at had a ton of lobster that got messed up in transit and showed up all rotten. And that's a lot of bad raw lobster. Also, fish farms are very labor intensive. It takes a lot of labor for a fish farm to do its thing. As I said, fish breathe oxygen, talking about fish respiration, and the gills act very similarly to how lungs do. They can't just pull the oxygen out of that H2O. They need that dissolved oxygen in it. So how do they get that oxygen? The big way they get it in nature is through photosynthesis. Just like how we get oxygen in the air through plants doing photosynthesis, we also have aquatic plants which will release dissolved oxygen into the water. And that ends our presentation. There's also a video that we watched, and I'll have the link for that in the calendar as well. Excuse me, I hope you have a super fabulous day.